Hello and welcome to Friday Lines for another edition brought to you by Little Birdie TV and topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Manscaped, all your essential items for life. As I welcome MG, who survived the Bool and survived spending 3 days with Nicoletta down there. MG, welcome back.
I did. That's a brave performance by myself. I'll pump myself up. Lucky for me, Nikki only had to return home for the third day. She had another function to go to. So, the first 2 days was interesting. But yeah, Nikki's first Bull, I think she's a lifer now. So she signed up. She couldn't get enough of it, and she certainly made plenty of friends down there. As you know, talk to a tree, Nikki, can't she?
I think Warrnambool said no more Nikki. Nikki said I want more Bull. Anyway, good luck to everyone down there. Is Toprope quite weak in the NRL this week? Is everything all right up there?
Oh, look, nothing much happens in the NRL. You know, rugby league just keeps on ticking over. OP, nothing to see here. And
MG, COVID again is sort of wreaking a little bit of havoc with the AFL teams. Obviously, Fremantle, after the big win down in Geelong, probably have celebrated a little bit too hard and got a little bit too close to each other. Yes. They've lost a few. West Coast is in chaos. That's another story. Saints have got a few off-field COVID concerns, nothing on-field, 2 Friday night games, a Mother's Day Classic at the G. It's looking like another interesting round of AFL.
Yeah, NRL's quiet. The AFL's definitely not OB. Yeah, I'm not sure what the teams in the West, they were always going to pose a problem going into this season. And Fremantle have had their dramas. They've just been able to cope with it probably a little bit better than West Coast. But yeah, I'm not sure. You're the man best to ask is what's going to go on with West Coast. I mean, it's we've seen this game go from bookies have posted up a 60 line against Brisbane. They've got to travel obviously to Brisbane this week, and now it's a 12-goal line. It's from a betting point of view, it's almost non-betting. You don't know what's going to turn up. Looks like a 100-point victory kind of thing. A West Coast, any chance to forfeit games? I mean, how far do they have to go here? Because the season's over for them, so it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, I think when you sort of start getting into the bottom end of your top-up lists, I think that's a concern for the AFL. But Gill has said, and PVL has also said that the game must go on, so they're going to persevere. And just hopefully they'll get a few reinforcements back over the next couple of weeks, and then you sort of get the 30 to 90-day quarantine sort of period that you shouldn't get it again. Yeah, fingers crossed. But, it's interesting round coming up. As the NRL round kicked off last night, South Sydney very disappointing against the Brisbane Broncos, 32-12 in favour of the Broncos up there. Toprope, how'd you see that one?
Yeah, not only the Brisbane Broncos, OB, the Adam Reynolds-led Brisbane Broncos. There was kind of much consternation last year when the Bunnies decided to let him go. They didn't want to give him a long-term deal. I know the kind of concern with South was how's he going to be performing in year 3 and 4. Well, I'm not sure about year 3 and 4, but they're dreadfully missing him in year 1. He orchestrated a masterful performance last night. Had South on the back foot from the get-go. Had a hand in pretty much every try. Adam Reynolds was sensational, and the Broncos won 32-12. Real concerns at South, I think, are over a few things. The lack of a genuine organiser is obviously a major concern. Some of the comments out of the coaching box are probably equally worrying. Of course, Wayne Bennett was in charge last year. Went with his assistant, Jason Dimitro, it was a very smooth handover, but when the kind of comments coming out of half-time are concerns about completion rates and a kind of failure to acknowledge that, you haven't got anyone organising anything. Your star 5'8" is absolutely playing like a chook with his head cut off. I think there's a few worries there at South.
Yeah, I think I might jump off. When I jump off, it's all over. Anyway, we'll get straight into the NRL and AFL action for Friday Lines, brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. As we get into the first game of the round, it's the 7:30 game tonight over at Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide $1.59. The Western Bulldogs $2.42. The line -7.5. Over under 153.5. Great game, this one. Remember the prelim from last year where the Bulldogs absolutely annihilated the Power. Bontempelli out, managed. Just say he's injured for crying out loud. I don't like how teams do that. But anyway, MG, which way are you leaning?
Yeah, big shift here, obviously, after the team news. We went into the start of the week thinking that I was surprised that Port weren't, at least pick 'em shading favourite, and they came out the Bulldogs -2 and 3-point favourite. So kind of like the Port side going into it. Obviously now the market shift with Bont coming out. It's moved nearly full 10 points now. So as you said, Port are now -7.5. I think that's probably where it should sit. So it's hard to tip either way. The thing I like about Port is at home, bit of a revenge game, as you said. I know teams don't buy into it, but they'll be up for this one. And the Bont being out obviously is crucial because that's where I think this game really has to be won in the midfield. The small note I've got against Port is they're coming off the Cairns, which was a heavy track against St Kilda last week in a very ordinary game. But offsetting that, I think the Bulldogs have a 5-day break. It gives the advantage back to Port at home. I like Port, but I think the price is right. So I'd be looking maybe Port, the smaller margins, maybe 1-24, 39 around there. But the market, I think, has got it spot on. The total open 157 down to 154.5. I think that's about right. I don't think it'll be an overly high scoring game at this stage. Obviously a night match as well, so keep that in considerations when you're betting. But yeah, probably just a watch game for me.
Yeah, Port Adelaide certainly got a little bit of their mojo back. Still no English or Keith for the Bulldogs, so I'd lean towards the power, but it should be an interesting tussle. As we go to the first game for NRL analysis, it's round 9 of the NRL season. Penrith, $1.23 against the Parramatta Eels, $4.40. The line -12.5, over under 39.5. This looks an absolute cracker. Toprope first versus fifth. I'm really looking forward to this game tonight.
Yeah, one of the great rivalries in rugby league, and it's particularly good when both teams are near the top of the table. Last time these two teams met, the Eels almost caused a monumental upset in the finals last year. Bit unlucky there not to get a penalty, at least level the scores. But look, it's hard to go past Penrith in this one, considering the injuries that Parramatta have got, the kind of drama they've had throughout the week with calls of nepotism for playing his son, who obviously shouldn't be in the side, and moving one of their better players, and Dylan Brown in the centres. That's kind of been amended this week, but it's just hard to go past Penrith at home. They've covered 21 of 30 at home, 18 of 23 night games, 7 of 8 when they've been favoured by 2 or more converted tries. These guys usually play low-scoring, close games, but I think Penrith will just be too strong. We're also expecting to see Brian Tuttle back tonight as well. So taking the Panthers minus here, I think that's there's a lot more upside in taking the minus than backing the plus here.
Beautiful there. And as we look to the second game of the AFL, it's the GWS Giants, $1.98 against the Cats, $1.86. The line 1.5, over under 166.5. It's the 4:35 game Saturday afternoon at Manuka in Canberra. Just for punters out there, will be a game in 2 halves. The first half should be dry, and then the dew sort of sets in up there at Manuka. Beautiful, fast surface. Dangerfield back, no Selwood. First gamer in Cooper Stevens playing after 3 years in the VFL. GWS go in unchanged. Jake Riccardi kicked 9 last week in the VFL. Can't get a look in. So a little bit of stability now for GWS. Yeah,
they're finding their feet. Obviously got off to an 0-5 start. Toby Green's come back. He was obviously unbelievable last week, wasn't he? So after his first hit out, I think to a large extent, if Geelong don't control or beat Toby Green, then I can't see them really winning this game. I think GW's got off to an ordinary start, but as you said, I think they're starting to find their mojo, got a bit of consistency back. Their midfield looked unbelievable. I know they only beat Adelaide last week, but it was a pretty dominant performance under real pressure. Whereas Geelong, I find, been really inconsistent this year. Really poor loss against Fremantle last week at home. They don't lose too many in an ugly game. But, I think Geelong going up there, they got their work cut out for them. I know they get Dangerfield back but lose Selwood, so it's only a slight edge there in the team news. I'll just shade GWS here. It's probably not a betting option for me, but I just think at home, I think they're maybe just turned the corner, and I'm not sure where Geelong are at right now. So just slightly GWS, and the total looks under game to me, just with being, as you said, the second half night. And I think Geelong will go back down into that shutdown mode, and the Giants don't mind playing low scraps. I know both teams have had more overs and unders this year. I just think at that mid 160, I think they'll come for the unders a little bit here. So if I was having one play, I'd be shading the unders.
Yeah, it's interesting. GWS have to take care of Tom Stewart in that one. He is in terrific form. I've sort of probably underestimated how good Tom Stewart is. Everyone at Geelong sort of raves about him, but he is a bona fide star of the competition. As we look to the next NRL fixture, it's the Sydney Roosters against the Gold Coast Titans. The Roosters $1.28, Gold Coast $3.75. The line minus 10.5, over under 41.5. The Roosters need a win, and they need a win soon. Is it going to come this week, Toprope?
Yeah, look, it might come this week, but I certainly wouldn't be betting on it. The Roosters have been favoured by double digits 5 times this year. They've lost to last place Newcastle, 15th place Canterbury, team outside the 8, St George Illawarra. The Broncos, they snuck home against, and the Warriors, they snuck home against. So, I certainly couldn't be laying the 10.5 points or jumping into the $1.28. And also, kind of note here, this game is not at the Sydney Cricket Ground. This game is in Mackay. So you would think the Titans would be a little better suited to that one. No doubt for the Titans, but considering how he's played this year, I don't think it's a huge issue. The Titans were pretty strong last week against the Panthers. They got beat 18-4 in the end, but they kept that one pretty close, led at half-time. But would rather be on a plus. Not a huge amount of confidence in this one. I just don't think the Titans are a particularly reliable side, but I couldn't be taking the minus here. I think I'd take a game punter. And favourites who aren't the Storm or the Penrith, who have been double digits this year. We saw this team in South last night. They're covering about 30%. So I'd be taking on just the Titans on principle here.
As we go to the Sunday AFL game, it's the early Mother's Day Classic. Melbourne against the Saints. Melbourne $1.32. St Kilda $3.50. The line minus 20.5. Over under 161.5. MCG Sunday afternoon. Grand final preview. This one. MG. The Saints probably should be 6-1. The Demons are 7-zip. This one looks a classic. Great ins for the Saints. Marshall and Jones. I'm in on the Saints. I reckon they can cause a bit of an upset here. How do you see it playing out?
It's not good news for the Saints here, jumping on them. That's not what they want to hear going into the pre-match for this game as well. This is a great matchup, isn't it? Melbourne, obviously, as you said, undefeated, and St Kilda could easily be 6-1. They both had pretty easy draws when you look back so far, which is unusual for a premiership side too. They've kind of got the tougher sides that they had in their draw. Obviously, haven't got off to a good start, so they really haven't got out of a gear for more than patches. Melbourne so far, they've just been able to get the job done. So I think they've got a big class edge just on the competition right now, and probably haven't been fully extended. I'm not sure it's going to change too much in this OB. St Kilda are going to have to play out of their minds to beat Melbourne, I think. It's interesting, the line, though. Melbourne have only covered 4 and 3 this year, so they haven't been, as we said, putting sides away. They've just kind of played in 5-10 minute spurts and just got the job done. So, I just don't know where St Kilda is edging the game. I know Marshall back is huge for them. When their record with Marshall and Ryder definitely improves them, but just not sure how they're going to take over in the midfield with Gawn, Petrarca and Oliver. And these three just keep standing up every week. It's unbelievable. So as long as those three are on the park, Stephen May down back, he'll take care of. I think he'll take care of your boy King, who can't kick. I just think St Kilda are going to have to go right. They're going to have to obviously kick straight, which has been an issue for them. We saw it last week, which cost them clearly the game. And I just think Melbourne have got some good ins as well. They've got all the COVID guys out. Pickett and Petty also coming to strengthen their team, and Luke Jackson's obviously a good foil for Gawn. So even though St Kilda do have a very good head-to-head record over the last 16, they're 11-5. The one I want to point out in this game is the under for sure. This is probably one of my better plays for the week. Not sure how the bookies come out, 166, 165. I had this in the 150s. Tracking downwards now, 161.5 this morning. I'd be staggered if this does not finish with a 1-5 in front of it. I just don't see the points coming in this game at all. Melbourne give up very little. I think they're averaging low 60s per game. They'll take care of the back end and they'll grind out a win. I'm going to stay away from the line, but definitely the under is the play for this game.
I wouldn't be getting on Clayton Oliver too many possessions. Seb Ross is going to go to him. You've heard it here first. He'll take care of him. And I had a chat to Max King during the week, and he'll be kicking him through the big stick. So I'm in on the Saints on that one. As we go to the Melbourne Storm versus St George Illawarra Dragons, the Storm $1.05, St George $10.50, the line minus 22.5, the over under 42.5. Toprope play the grand final now. Penrith versus Storm. There is no one else.
You know the most fun thing in gambling is, backing the Melbourne Storm minus. It is a very, very easy watch when they are firing. I can't think how many weeks in a row they've pretty much had the line covered at half time or pretty soon afterwards. But it's a very, very stress-free watch. I'll be jumping on the minus again. And look, the only stressful part of last week was our man, the Pap, not scoring a try, saving bookies millions. He would have been in every same-game multi. People hitting 5, 6 legs, and the Pap not scoring. So a little upsetting. Expect a bit of a bounce back there. But look, it's been, I think the last time the Dragons won in Melbourne was the 1990s. So, look, go and organise a nice Mother's Day lunch for your wife or your mum and just pay for it by backing the Storm minus. That will be winning.
Yeah, I think the big interesting point here is to see which change room Tarek Sims actually wants to walk into and does walk into. I think that's the only side bet that's going on.
You know which one he wants to walk into.
Having seen enough of Tarek Sims play, I think the Storm will be hoping it's the Dragons and the Dragons hoping it's the Storm.
No one wants him. That's a good sign for him. As we look to the rest of the AFL games for this week, the late one tonight, 8:40 kickoff in Melbourne, Fremantle $1.11 against the Kangaroos at $7 even. The line minus 39.5, over under 154.5. A few outs for the Dockers with COVID. MG, a quick one there.
Yeah, good money for the plus, 45 down to 39. I think that might continue. I could only go the plus, but the unders is a game for me here. I think 160 open down to 155 might go down another 1 or 2 points. Unders for me.
And a Saturday afternoon classic, Richmond against Collingwood at the MCG, should be starting at 2.10, not 1.45. That's another story. Richmond $1.42, Collingwood $2.95. The line minus 18.5, over under 169.5.
All Richmond since the team news. Martin and Cochin back, 2 Brownlow medalists. Line's gone from 11 to 18. I think Richmond are the right side. Not sure I can come in at the minus 18 now, but I can't see Richmond losing a big game against Collingwood here.
Sydney versus Gold Coast up there at the SCG. It's the Swans 2012 Premiership reunion. The Swans $1.16, Gold Coast $5.50. The line minus 32.5, over under 170.5. Gold Coast do match up well with Sydney, but looks one-way traffic there.
Yeah, line open 28.5 to 32, so it's moved Sydney's way. Couple of good ins. McCartan, good to see him back through concussion. McDonald's the other one. I think the line's tracking the right way. I can't come into the minus 32.5, but I think slight edge to the over in this game, 169.5. I reckon it's about a goal short.
Essendon Hawthorn Saturday night. The first one is the Lions and the Eagles. This one is the Lions $1.01, just a little bit of a multi one there, and the Eagles $21. The line is now minus 72.5, over under 174.5. I think people will be watching this to see which way it goes, but I'd probably stay away from this one, MG.
Yeah, open 59.5 up to 72. Seems to be going one way. A man Toprope, he doesn't often bet in the AFL, but he launched early on this one for Brisbane 100+, so I'll be cheering for the great man.
Looks one-way traffic there. Essendon Hawthorn Saturday night at Marvel. Bombers 2.30, the Hawks $1.64. The line is 8.5, over under 171.5. Be the first time the Hawks have started favourite this year, I'd imagine.
Yes. Interesting betting game. It's fluctuated a lot. Opened about 3.5, went all the way up to 10 after team news of Stringer coming out. It's jumped around down to about 7 now, so it really has flip-flopped this market. Non-betting game, just happy to watch.
And the final game of the round, Carlton versus Adelaide. Carlton $1.36, the Crows $3.20, the line minus 21.5, over under 174.5. The Crows without Nicks. It's a battle of Scott Burns and Michael Voss yet again.
Yeah, all money for Carlton, open 15.5 to 21.5. I think it'll continue. Adelaide, you can leave me out of Adelaide at the moment. Not big fans of Carlton. The money all for the over as well, but just a watch game for me.
As we whip through the final NRL games for the round, the Raiders $1.77 against the Gus Gould Canterbury Bulldogs at $2.10. The line minus 1.5, over under 38.5. Anything doing there, Toprope?
Yeah, plenty doing. Surprised the Bulldogs aren't favourites here. Jack White now, they've got a makeshift halves pairing. Of course, the hooker Josh Hodgson's out there. They're starting Adam Elliott, former Bulldog at hooker. He is a back row with terrible hands. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'll be all over Canterbury here and love the under. The Dogs 15-2 under off a win. The Raiders are a big under team at home, big under team off conceding 20+. So the under and the Dogs for me.
The Bulldogs are back. As we look at the next game, which is the 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, Manly $1.17 against the West Tigers, $5.25. The line minus 15.5, over under 42.5. Which way are you leaning that way?
Yeah, the big turbo back for Manly, so that'll make MG happy, one of his men. But look, I'm going to take on the Manly. I think they're far too short here. The Tigers, they've covered 7 of their last 8 as a double-digit underdog. Look, they've lost David Nofaluma, they've lost Luciano Leilua, but big favourites this year, who are Melbourne or Penrith, have a pretty ordinary record. So fancy that, with the Tigers digging in, Hastings playing pretty well against his former club, I think they can get this one relatively close, taking the plus here.
As we look at the Saturday night fixture, North Queensland Cowboys $1.17 against Newcastle Knights, $5.25. The line minus 14.5, over under 40.5. Looks a little bit one-way traffic in that one. Yeah,
the Knights have rung in the changes there. Jake Clifford being stood down for personal reasons, Adam Clune hurt in the halves. New halves pairing, not sure that the named halves pairing of Tex Hoy and Phoenix Crossland will stand. Bit of a buzz that Callum Pong will go to 5'8". Got to be on the Knights here. This is only the third time since 2017 the Cowboys have been a double-digit favourite. Plus teams off conceding 50 over the last 4 years. They've covered 20 of 28. Big bounce back sortie for the Knights. I'll be on Newcastle.
As we look to the final game of the round, 4:05 on Mother's Day, Cronulla $1.18, the New Zealand Warriors $5. The line minus 14.5, over under 42.5. Which way you heading in that one?
Yeah, probably a no-bet game for me here. I'm reluctant to take a big minus on a team that's not the Storm or the Panthers. I think that the Sharks are entitled to be this shorter price. They've got a good record at Sharp Park. The Warriors are very poor as an underdog. The Warriors have won 4 games this year, but been pretty lucky in doing off most of those. So they've covered just 1 of their last 5, getting 12 more points. Lean towards the Sharks here, but can't come into a play.
Thank you, Toprope. And a reminder to punters, you can locate the AFL Stings and the greatest game of all for $22 a week in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your NRL and AFL betting action. We've whipped through it this week so MG can get home and get some much-needed sleep. His eyes are just slowly closing over here. But MG, good to see you back in one piece. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Toprope, good to see you again, looking lively up there in orange, and have a great weekend. And to everyone out there, follow us on YouTube, find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow Little Birdie TV on Insta or Twitter. Remember, for all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. We'll be back next Friday for all the Friday lines. Don't forget to join Nikki on Monday for the first look with all the weekend action in review. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there for Sunday. Punt well, punt responsibly, and have a great weekend, punters.